Hey guys, welcome back to another legit food review, even though it's not really food that we're reviewing. This is all just for a chemistry project, and it's called memory metals, and it has to do with very warm water or hot water, and these other items on the side. I couldn't get a paper clip though. That was one of the things they recommended, a paper clip. But I got all these other things, the spring, what's called bobby pin, and a bunch of other stuff around the house I found, I guess you can say. That could also be used. Ooh, that scared me. And, what's called, and yeah, we're gonna be, like, bending a few of these right here. And, putting them into very hot water in a separate plate. And we're gonna, not measure the water, but see what the temperature of the water is. And what's called after that we'll give a little bit of an analysis on each one and see what happens to each one. And yeah, I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, so first we're gonna test out this boiling water first. And as we have here, I bent a few of these, and what is supposed to happen, or what I think is supposed to happen, is that with the metals, or like let's say for example the spring, it would go back to its original state, or original, like, more of a like that. Oh, and what is supposed to happen, it all goes back to its original state, I guess you can say, of not being bent. Like, let's say for example this one being bent a little bit, or this bobby pin being bent a little bit, it wouldn't be bent anymore because the temperature of the water would make it go back to its original state. So first we're going to try it with the spring in the boiling water, and let's try not get burnt here. And then I'm going to pour some more boiling water in there because it is not enough. So there you go. Okay, so now the spring is completely under the water there. And while we're at it, we're going to throw everything else in there. And if it does end up going to its original state, I'll bend it again for the next three contestants here. And so next is the bobby pin there. Whatever this is, I actually don't know what this is. I know it's for hair, but yeah. And then this one's also for hair. Boom. And then this one also right here. And there you go. Everything is in the water. We'll leave it there for a while, and we'll come back to it in a bit. Alrighty, so let's get straight into things here. Well, around 2 minutes passes by. So my hypothesis was that the two springs that I added into the hot water would change the most. They would mostly change in the hot water, and would start reforming in the cold water based off of examples I saw online. So that is one of my hypotheses that I wanted to add right here. Okay, so I left everything in there for about a minute 30. Oh, sorry about that. And it looks like none of them changed. Not even the spring. So looks like boiling hot water isn't the way to go, looks like. It's really hot. I recommend not doing what I'm doing right now and pulling them all out by hand. There you go. Okay, so it looks like none of them changed at all. It looks like in shape at all. I guess the only one that really did, like, not really move at all was the spring in the middle on the ends. Other than that, nothing really moved at all here. So it looks like boiling hot water wasn't the way to go. So let's get right into the microwaved water here. There's one more thing about boiling. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's put in the big spring first, see if anything happens with it, because, let's see. Nothing. Looks like nothing at all. Because, as I said in the examples, One of the examples I saw was with springs and paper clips. Didn't have any paper clips on me at all. But what's it called? If I ever get to redo this experiment here, I shall try paper clips. But here it doesn't look like anything's happening here with this big spring. We'll leave the other small things inside. So first we have this other tiny spring here. Then we have this other hair clip here. This other thing that's usually on keychains. This bobby pin here. And finally this thing for hair. Now we're going to leave that in there for about another minute 30. See if it changes at all, and then we'll move into the colder temperatures. Okay, so now what's going on in this 5-minute hot water wasn't much, other than the smaller spring getting a little bit more like together, just by a bit, not too much. And what's called my hypothesis for this was also that the same of with the boiling water, that everything would change like depending on looks. But one thing that mostly changed was in the what's called the bobby pin and in the clip for like keychains. Those two were the ones that became a little bit more flexible that I end up mentioning later on in this video while recording. This is just post me, I guess you can say. This is future me putting on this video together. And that's one thing I noticed what was going on during this water, this certain water. A few other interesting things start to happen after this water. Okay, so it looks like not even the 5-minute what's called microwaved water worked look like. So as I pull the other spring out, thing for the hair, thing that's on keychains, another thing for the hair but different color and way different looking, and there's a bobby pin. Looks like none of them changed. A few things changed about them though. I can't talk. A few things changed about them though. This spring, in a way, also changed. All of them became more, I guess, flexible, except this, and then this other spring that I didn't leave in there, and this other thing here, if you can see it. The rest all turned, these three things here, turned a little bit more flexible than usual, than in its original state at the beginning. I think it may be because, just put them in both really hot water. And yeah, so next thing I'm going to put them in is going to be the normal temperature water here. First we're going to put in the spring, the normal one as the beginning. I think these things are not made of the right metal that makes, it's like this right memory metal. So I think this is why I'm doing this experiment wrong. I'm realizing this halfway. I'll have future Jose add a few things, commentary over the minute 30 of each two at the beginning. Probably just dissing on me, I guess. So first we're gonna try out this. I don't think this is gonna work at all. This cold water is way better to feel though. Way better than this really hot burning water here. You can see the steam. So, okay, so nothing's really happening here with this spring at all. So I think this is just like a lost cause here, this spring. So yeah, this is this spring here. Now we're gonna throw in all the other small things, see if they change at all. So first is the tiny spring here, then the bobby pin, then this thing for keychains, this other thing for hair that looks a bit strange, and another thing for hair that looks normal. We're going to leave it there for a bit, a minute 30, see if anything changes, anything in how dense it feels, or in the shape of it, and I shall add that onto here. Okay, so my hypothesis with this water, I'm going to let this whole video play out because I think it's about just 2 minutes. So my hypothesis with this water is that everything would be turning way more into what it originally was. Other than the big spring, well, halfway through I thought the big spring would have been changed, but it didn't change at all. That I saw, nothing really changed about it. The other small spring and the paperclip started becoming a little bit more straight in the cold water. And the reason why I thought this was because of an example online while I was researching this was that they took a blowtorch to the thing. I end up mentioning this later on, that they took a blowtorch to the metal bent, and putting it in cold water changed it back to its original state. And that was because it was it was a certain type of metal. And I mentioned in this video also that these may have not been made of the exact same metal that has the memory, I guess you can say. Memory metal. Roll credits. And that's probably why it's not turning back into its original state, each of these, even though some of them are changing based on a little bit of the shape, a little bit of how they feel. I guess they become more flexible in the hot water. In the cold water, they become more hardened, I guess you can say, because the hot water made them a little bit more softer, and then making them a bit more harder in the cold water would make sense, right? So that is kind of what I was thinking here. And also, I also mentioned at the end about how I could fix this. So I'm going to mention more of this right now. One thing I could have done to fix this was done more research on these items specifically, even though I really don't know the name of some of them. More research on these, and if I were to do it again, I would do way more research than I did, now. I would do way more research with the spring, with the paperclip, with these other items here, and why they don't change, and why some of them did change a little bit. And what I thought was that some of them actually include some of that metal, the memory metal. And yeah, well, let's get back into the next one then, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so now we're back after about 1:30. Looking back at what was going on there. I left it there for 2 minutes and 30 seconds on accident. That was my fault. But as we pull these out, this spring, for some odd reason, looks like it's changing more up here. Not really down here in this middle area. This for the hair here isn't changing at all. This bobby pin here. Good old Bob. It doesn't seem to be changing at the metal part on this side, but a little bit more straighter on this side. This other one, damn it, why do I keep forgetting? Future me, just say what I was gonna put, put something there. And then this other hair one here, also, it seems like it hasn't changed at all. Not even in, I guess you can say, shape or how it feels. If it still feels the same. So now let's get straight into the freezing cold water that we're just gonna go walk over here to the fridge. And we got our freezing cold water here. Ooh, there you go. Okay. So I'll close the fridge right now before someone starts to yell at me. Someone, anyone. And boom, we have our freezing cold water here. Not really frozen too much, more frozen on the side. And we'll start off with the big spring. Hopefully something changes, something happens, but I doubt it. And let's see here. So, feeling the freezing cold water. Once again, it's really good. And let's see. It doesn't seem like it's really doing much at all here. So let's try the smaller spring in there. Then throw in this other hair clip here. Then the other hair clip. Hold up. There we go. Okay. Other hair clip. Then the thing for keychains. There you go. Now I remember. Now I don't have to add that. Yeah. And then, boom. Bobby pin. Now we're going to let that sit in there for a while in the freezing cold water. See if anything changes. And yeah, there you go. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, this is just like a little review. So my hypothesis for this is that everything would go back to its original state because of the example I saw online, repeating that once again. And at the end, I'm gonna go into way better detail. I really like the way I end this video. So I'm just gonna say right now, I hope you enjoyed. Um, and yeah, let's quickly look at what's going on here. So what ended up happening was that the paperclip became way more straight. What's called on the right side, what's called the things that were softer became way more harder, and the what's called the spring became a little bit more thinner, just by a little bit. And yeah, let's get straight into that ending. Okay, so now looking at the freezing cold water for like about 2 minutes. I think that's what I did each one, other than the boiling one, because I was going for 1:30 on each one, and then I completely forgot. So this one didn't change at all. Nothing happened to this at all. So I can bend it back into shape because it's usually meant to be bent. Boom. Nothing really changed here. This other one didn't change at all either from the beginning to the start. From the start to the end. This one didn't seem to change at all either. This spring here only really changed in the normal temperature water and the hot water. At the ends, it became more, like, I guess, packed together if it'll focus. Let it focus. It really doesn't want to focus. We'll look back at that right now in a moment. And this one didn't seem to change that much either, other than it got a little bit more flexible. And then this one, the bobby pin here, a little bit on the edge, it became a little bit more straighter on the left side, but the right side didn't seem to change much. But yeah, we shall be going over this at the end, which is right now, So in the project, as while the 1:30 was going on, what's called future me started talking about my thesis, which was what I think is gonna, or not thesis, but hypothesis. Yeah, hypothesis, which is I think only the springs would change. The springs are the only ones that would come back to normal shape, but the rest of the other items here would not change. They would stay the same. And I was semi-right. This spring never changed at all. This spring changed. So I was 50-50. Well, not really 50-50, but it was a 50-50 in the end. This bobby pin here, let me grab it. There you go. Bobby pin changed. This one also changed, but in a different way. It didn't change in shape. It changed in how flexible it is, I guess you can say. And the only two things that, or the three things that didn't change were the spring, these two hair clips, and that's pretty much it. So it was a 50-50 on each side, 3 on this side, 3 on that side, and that's what ended up happening at the end. So the spring, so we're going to talk about the things that did change. The spring changed about 3 times. Once in the hot boiling water with the ends, as you can see right there, and then there you go, right there at the ends. It became more squished in. I think if we may have left it there, I guess, really more hot boiling water, it may have changed back into its original state there. And once it got to the normal water, like non-hot, like after the 5-minute water, these things like started becoming a little bit more together. And in the video, or not really video, but in the instruction video that I saw, at the beginning they got a blowtorch, and they blowtorched the metal there, which ended up changing the metal shape, and they dipped it into cold water, and from cold water, it turned back into its original shape. And then they showed the other one, which was in what's called hot temperature water. And then with the bobby pin here, it only began to change around the normal water as well. What's called with the line becoming a bit more straighter, and the what's called right here, right now it's on the left. It didn't really change that much compared to the right. And then this one began changing in more of the hot water. I can't even grab it. Okay, there you go. In the hot water, it became more flexible until it got to the freezing cold water, where it still was very flexible, I guess you can say, but it started becoming more, I guess, back into its original state when it first began. So that is what happened there with those three. And then the most expected one that I thought would have changed the most would have been this big spring right here. It would have changed in the hot boiling water as a part of my thesis, as I said. But now that I'm knowing, looking back into it, knowing that it had to be a certain metal, that's probably why these didn't change shape. That's probably why these didn't change shape, and that's why a few of these also didn't change shape. They may have parts of that metal, but they may not be fully made of that one metal. I don't remember the names. All I remember is that it had to be a certain metal for it to have memory to be able to turn back into its original state. So that's probably why these changed a little bit and these did not. Now, paperclip, I have to do that one in a future upcoming, I guess, update to this, if we end up doing an update to this. And I'll be doing the same water. I'll be doing hot boiling water, which takes around 4 to 5 minutes. Microwave water, which takes exactly 5 minutes. What's called normal temperature water, which is just a water out of a water bottle, and left at room temperature. And then the final water, which is the ice cold water, which is left in the fridge for approximately 10 minutes or less. I put it in there for about 6 to 7. Surprised only the sides froze. Probably something wrong with my fridge. I really did want to test the temperature of each water over here on this side. I wanted to test each temperature of each water, but I didn't get a chance to because I do not have a thermometer here with me. And because of the whole quarantine that's going on, I'm not able to go out as much. Go to a different place, I guess you could say. It is not here with me, but I do have one. I'll be looking back at the videos saying their temperatures. I'll go with what they're saying, because I did not exactly, but very similar to what they were doing. And yeah, I think that was all of it. I'm running out of breath. I'm talking to a wall and a phone right now. And Ms. Diaz, if you're seeing this, don't mind the outro. The outro is just like something I do in every single one of my videos. Don't even mind the videos. Don't look at those. Those are just JoJo Pitter Patter Pop videos, and you don't know what that is, miss, so don't look at those. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, and if you guys want me to make more videos like this, I guess you can say, leave a like, comment, what I should have done, or what I should do next time. Ms. Diaz, if you want to leave a comment too, saying that, hey, you did this wrong. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Have a great day, guys, and I should have another JoJo Pitter Patter Pop video up tonight, if not tomorrow morning. And it should be another 2. Hopefully I can get them up by tonight, but let's see if homework allows me. And thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you didn't make it this far, the people that are subbed to me. And yeah, hope you enjoyed and have a great day. Peace.